Hi everyone, today I'm going to show y'all or tell y'all why I am not an iconoclast and why I reject the Council of Hieria. This video is not to target iconoclasts personally. If you are someone who is an iconoclast, I totally respect your decision. If you don't want to venerate icons or you don't have icons in your prayer life, that's fine. I respect that. I respect your decision not to do it. I understand why there is people who do identify as iconoclasts. I get the argument, I totally get it, but this is just my personal opinion on why I do have icons, why I venerate icons, and why I reject iconoclasm. But before I get into it, if you like these videos, hit the like button, subscribe as well, and if you don't want to miss any future content, then hit the notification bell, so that way when I upload new content, you won't miss it and you'll get to see it right away. But without further ado, let's get right into it. First, I'm going to tell you the history behind iconoclasm and the Council of Hieria. So, what happened was there was these Christians in the Byzantine Empire at the time. It was a mixture of Catholics and Orthodox clergy and monks and lay people as well. And they had a council called the Council of Hieria, which was called by Emperor Constantine V, who was the reigning monarch of the Byzantine Empire at this time. And what happened was they were talking about the use of imagery, and should Christians be using something like this, icons, in their worship, in their liturgies, in their prayer corners, like in the house. And they came to the conclusion that we shouldn't be using images in our prayer lives and in our liturgies. And this actually led to them taking down icons, statues, you name it, of like Jesus, the saints, in their churches, in their houses. And the churches would only use the likes of crosses for images, like, but not a crucifix. They wouldn't have a statue or like an image of Jesus on the cross. It would just be a cross, not a crucifix. And years later, after that, there was what's called the Second Council of Nicaea, and what happened was they condemned the iconoclasts. And we can get into the wording of the Council of Nicaea, but I'm not going to do that in this video. That can be in like another video when I have more knowledge of the Second Council of Nicaea. But what happened after that council was very unfortunate, and it led to many people who had icons and thought we should be using icons to murdering iconoclasts, whether that be priests, bishops, even clergy as well were getting, or sorry, monks were getting murdered by people who wanted to use icons. And we obviously know that is wrong. And by the way, just to say, even the iconoclasts did bad stuff to people who did have icons. So it went both ways. And we know, as Jesus told us in the Bible, to test them by the fruits. And we know that doing that is absolutely not okay, no matter what side you're on, whether you are iconoclast or you're someone like me who thinks we should use icons. Like, I don't think that's an excuse to go around killing each other. Obviously, that is just wrong and unbiblical, and it shows that these people did not have the fruits of the Spirit at this time, unfortunately. Here is something I must admit about the iconoclasts. I totally get where they're coming from. I understand they're worried that it could be idolatry to venerate icons. As much as I believe it doesn't mean idolatry, I totally get why they choose to avoid having icons and stuff. And I also must say there is Protestant denominations out there that do have icons. Even some Presbyterian churches do have icons. But the main Protestant churches that do use icons is Lutherans and the Anglicans. They have them, but they don't venerate them. I totally understand that, by the way. I know I've nothing against that. But like what they do instead is use them for teaching purposes, which is quite similar to what the early church did, because in the rule of faith of the early church fathers, icon veneration wasn't involved in it. They never had that in the rule of faith. And there was even church fathers that were iconoclasts. One prime example is Saint Epiphanius, or Saint Epiphanius. I hope I'm saying that right. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in saying these names. Like, I do not understand these Greek names or anything like that. Like, I can say some, but not this one. But in regards with him, he was a strong iconoclast openly, and he was actually known for taking down an image of either Jesus or a saint because he thought it was idolatrous. Now, I personally disagree with him doing that. I don't think we should be taking down images, like ripping them down or anything like that. I personally disagree with him doing it. But again, I understand where they're coming from. And yes, it can look like idolatry. As much as it's not, this is coming from someone who has icons. Hundreds of them. This is coming from me. It does look like idolatry. As much as it's not, it looks like it. And like, I totally understand where these iconoclasts are coming from. As much as I disagree with it, I do openly disagree with iconoclasm. But yes, I believe iconoclasts are still Christians. I believe they are saved. I believe they'll be in heaven with us one day. But even then, I respect their decision and stuff like that. That's why I respect the decision of Saint Epiphanius. As much as I disagree with him tearing them down in churches, I understand why he did it, as much as I disagree with it. But that's all I'm going to say on that. Now I'm going to quote from one of the church fathers against iconoclasm. This one is one of my favourite church fathers, called St. John of Damascus. And this is what he says about iconoclasm and why he's against it. In former times, God, who is without form or body, but now that God has been lived among men, I make an image of God whom I can see. This shows that we can use images of God, yeah, because he came down and revealed himself to us. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know what iconoclasts will be thinking right now. You're committing Nestorianism right now. No, I'm not. I'm not committing Nestorianism, because what we're trying to say is that we can depict images of God, of what we think he looks like, but we're not trying to separate his natures or anything like that. I'm not saying that Christ's divinity and his humanity are separate. Of course, that is Nestorianism, and that is a heresy. No one has said anything different. We are not Nestorian. People who venerate icons are not Nestorian, yeah? But even though it may sound like it, we are not Nestorian by any means. Nestorius was wrong in his beliefs. He was a heretic, simple as that. But when we are depicting these images of God, it is to help us think of God and focus on him when we're doing our prayers. That's why we use icons in our worship, in our liturgies and in our prayer lives, so we can help be focused on Christ, be focused on God. That's why we use them. And we believe that icons are like windows into heaven. Not literally. We don't believe they're really present in those images. We're not like other religions out there that believe their gods are in their statues or their icons, but we're not doing that. We only believe they're something that can help us focus on God and focus on Christ and the saints, whatever it is we may be doing in our prayers. But this is to show that we are not Nestorian for showing Christ in our images. As much as it looks like it, we're not. We're not trying to do that by any means. And that's what I've got to say on that part with St. John of Damascus' quote against iconoclasm. This is going to be it for today, everyone. I hope you found this video interesting. Please show the support and maybe share this with a friend if you want to, because you never know, they might find this interesting as well, as much as you did and as much as I enjoyed making this video. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week with whatever you're doing. Have a great summer as well, and I'll see you in the next video. So God bless everyone, and Christ is King.